Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Mitrabha and today I'll be going over my recent Title Tuesday 4th position where I played recently and I beat some very good players like Wesley, Matsukyo and the very well-known streamer Eric Rosen. So I'll be going over the Eric Rosen game first because this was in the 4th round. So I played c4, he played e6, I played knight f3, d5, g3, so this is very standard stuff. He played d4, I played bishop g2, so this is kind of a reverse Benoni position. He played knight c6, castle, and he played this nice interesting move knight h6. Generally what black plays is bishop knight f6, d3, bishop c5, and then tries to go e5 castle. But he went knight h6, d3, knight f5, knight a3. The general idea of white to is to go knight a3, knight c2, and then go a3, b4. He went h5 trying to create some kingside attack with h4. I just stopped it with h4. He went bishop e7, knight c2, very natural, threatening b4. He plays e5, which kind of helps me to get in e4 because after b4, if he takes with the knight, I can just take and go queen a4. It's a fork. And if he goes bishop b4, I can again take and go knight e5. So white is clearly better here. So he can't really take on b4. So he had to go f6. I went b5, knight b8, and I went e3. So he can't really castle here because I will just take and go q1, and this pawn is very weak. He can't get this knight out because I will just take this. This h5 pawn is weak, and overall white is just clearly better. So after e3 he took d into e3. I took the knight. He goes castle, and here I actually played the very nice move knight f5, forcing him to take, and then this brilliant knight e5 according to ss.com. I think this is a very normal move because this diagonal is open. Can't really block this diagonal with a bishop. He has to play rook f7 if I go bishop d5. Also, this b7 pawn is hanging, which will in turn trap the a8 rook. All my queen can go to h5, and white is just crushing. But after while I played knight e5, I had seen this variation of bishop f into e5, bishop d5, rook f7, queen h5, queen e8, and queen f5. What I had missed is this g6 move. As it is blitz, you can expect some mistakes, but apparently this is also clearly winning because I can just simply take here and go queen h7, king e6, and this very nice move d4, which forces the queen take, and then we can go bishop e3, and with the king in the center, white is just crushing. But instead of bishop d5, I do a mistake here, and I take on bishop b7, missing a crucial intermediate move, that is bishop g4, covering this h5 pawn. For example, if he had gone something like knight d7, I can go bishop d5. Maybe if he goes something like rook f7, I can go here. And I thought then this is the same thing, but I'm just up one pawn up because I took the b7 pawn. But this bishop g4 move I had just completely missed. So here I could have gone queen b3, but he can go knight d7. If I take and go c5, king h8, and I did not like this position because this bishop is very strong. He can come something like e4, knight e5, and come into f3. So I tried to mess it up a bit. So bishop g4, I played f3. So this move is very strong, this fork with queen d4, and he can just take the rook. But I had seen this, but I desperately wanted to take this bishop. According to the engine, he says I am kind of correct, so black has to save this bishop and give up this. If I take on a8, he can go queen d4, king g2, and he can just take on a1. And if I save the rook with this, he can go knight d7, bishop into a8, queen into a8, and these two minor pieces are very strong, and my king is not so safe. But after f3, naturally he went queen d4 first, king g2, and again he could have played bishop e6, but he decided to take the rook. And even though it seems like I'm a whole rook down, but this bishop is so strong, it gives me an immense compensation. So here he played queen a2, which is a bit surprising because with the queen on a1, he could directly come back to d4, which was very important. But after queen a2, I just went king h3, knight d7. Here again I made a bit of a mistake. Not really a mistake, but the idea is not correct. According to the engine, it says that I should go g5. I had seen like g6 and I did not find anything on the king side. So I thought I'll go bishop d5 first, king h8, and I take here. So this and go rook f7. So this bishop d5 move was very important because with the king on g8, I couldn't go rook f7. So I had to take here, and then there's no rook f7. If I go something like this, I think he can simply go rook f8, queen d5, and king h8, and because as the rook f1 rook is hanging, I can't take on d7. So after bishop d5, he went king h8. I took on a8, rook into a8, rook f7, and here actually he had multiple moves, but the move that was clearly winning for him is this very nice move, rook f8, which I think is very difficult to find in the game, because not only this hangs this bishop, the idea of rook f8 is to go rook f2, and it is not really clear made because after gh4 he just simply plays knight f6, and the attack is so strong that white is completely lost. For example, if I go queen g1, he can simply come queen e2, and next move he can even go for something. If I go something like c5, he can queen g4 mate, and I'm just busted. But okay, it's very difficult to find moves like rook f8 in a blitz game with 18 seconds in the clock. So naturally he played the normal move rook e8. I played gh5, and right now I was feeling a bit confident because my rook is very strong. I have h6 coming, I have queen g4 coming, and this queen can't really get back into the game, which I was mentioning earlier. If the queen was on a1, he could directly queen d4, stopping queen g4. But right now he doesn't have any way back. He played knight f8. I played queen g4, hitting this. He went bishop f6, h6, very natural. He went knight e6, g7, bishop g7, and here there was a very nice move for white. Okay, I had 16 seconds. He had 5 seconds. It's very difficult again, but the idea was actually similar. The idea is to go rook d7 and just threaten this fork. The point is, if he goes king g8, white can go bishop h6, and but I played this rook f5 move, which is again the same idea. But here, white, he could have got this nice move rook e7, guarding this and getting out of the fork. But I would go bishop g5, and it's still winning, but it's not that easy. But after rook f5, he had 5 seconds. He, I think, panicked and made this very big blunder. He played queen b1. It just clearly lost from here. I went queen h5. By the way, there is a big surprise at the end. He played king g8. And as you can see, it's again totally lost for black. I can just play queen e8. I can play queen f7. And it's a mate in 4 moves. Or I can just simply take the rook. But my mouse gave up and actually played queen g5. Not intentionally, but I mouse slipped. While going to take on e8, I just mouse slipped and my queen landed on g5. I thought I had lost, but he had only 1.7 seconds, and I saw in his stream afterwards that he was holding the king on h7, hoping for queen e8 check. But after queen g5, he got shocked. He had to leave the king, and he tried to take on g5 with the knight, but his time ran out before he could complete the move. So I actually beat Eric Rosen while doing a Botis Gambit, so which is really amazing. So this was the one of the very important games. So the next game I play a very strong grandmaster Wesley. So he's above 2700. He had almost 2800 in his highest rating, and I have played him many times in this title Tuesday. So he started with d4. I played knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4. The traditional Nimzo Indian. He played knight f3, castles, bishop g5, and b6. So d6 is not generally the best way to play because it allows e4, but okay, for blitz I thought why not. He went knight d2, bishop b7, e4, h6. So I thought if he goes bishop h4, I might go for g5, bishop g3, knight into e4, knight into e4, bishop into e4, a3, bishop into c3, b into c3, and I'm a pawn up. But it looked kind of risky because he'll go h4, and in the future he'll go h4 and then queen h5. So I did not do that. So I went c5. Here he could have actually gone for e5, cd4, knight b5, a6, something like ef6, ab5, bishop d3. Okay, a very computerist line, but this was according to the engines the best way to play. But okay, not for humans. He went d5, the normal move. I took on d5. He actually, I think, made a mistake here. He should have gone with the c pawn, but he played ed5. I played rook e8, bishop e2. I took bishop c3, bc3, and queen e7. So this is a very important pin because it does not allow white to castle. So if he castle, I can just simply take the bishop. And he cannot really unpin the position. There's only one way to unpin, that is to go knight f1 and knight e3 and then castle. But it looks very slow, and I can go something like queen e5, then knight e4. So after queen e7, he had, like, he didn't had to play, but he played this bishop f6 move. I took, and I was like very happy with my position. I had I got rid of this bishop. I had this very nice pawn structure. He has this double pawns. The c3 pawn is very weak. So after queen f6, he played castle. I played d6. I think I could have taken on c3, but I thought maybe he can go rook b1, rook b3, and rook g3 to end of ideas. So I played d6. He played bishop g4, stopping me from going knight d7. I took the pawn now. So I thought even if he goes rook b1, I can go knight a6, rook b3, queen d4, and I didn't find anything after rook g3. But he went rook c1, which is again surprising. I just played queen d4, keeping an eye on both the bishop and knight, so he can't really move the queen. Even rook e1, I can just simply take and go queen g4. So he played h3, supporting this and threatening to go rook e1. I played knight a6. He played a3, stopping knight b4, knight d3. I went knight c7, again threatening some kind of b5, getting rid of this very strong d5 pawn, which will in turn open a b7 bishop. So he played queen c2. I wanted to play b5, but the problem was I thought after b5 he might try to go for something like cd5, knight b5 again, then something like rook d1, like putting some pressure on the queen. Maybe just an hallucination, or I was just scared, but I thought maybe I can prepare b5 to take back with the pawn. So he played rook e1, I played b5. So if he takes, I can just take back with the pawn, and it's completely dead for him. I'll just take this pawn, and I'm clearly winning. He played knight e4. I just protected this pawn, rook d8, bishop f3. I took on c4, rook d1. I actually wanted to take on with c4 with the queen, but I thought he will go queen d2, and I had to go outskirts with the queen, which I did not like because he had some kind of ideas like knight f6, gf6, queen h6. Maybe not working, but yeah, it's always scary in blitz. So I took bc4. He played rook d1. I played queen e5. He played knight c3. Again, I'm just clearly winning. I'm 2 pawns up. This knight is coming to d4 and it's just dead. Knight b5, knight e2. I took the third pawn a3, queen a2, and I come back with the knight. So even if he takes this pawn, I'll be still 2 pawns, 2 healthy pawns up. He takes with the rook. I play rook e7. Okay, so I'm kind of again going a bit wrong here. I should have tried to go maybe something like queen f6, getting rid of this rook e4 ideas. But okay, rook e7 is still fine. And he played this very bad knight g3 move. And I totally forgot that this knight was holding this 2 squares. And I can play both knight d4 or knight c3. But I forgot about this. I played rook d8, and which is still actually winning. But now comes the trick. He went rook e4 with only 16 seconds on the clock. I kind of went wrong. Not yet. Queen f6 is still good. Knight h5, and I had to go queen c3 here, but I mistakenly go queen g6, and this very nice rook g4 move comes, threatening this pin. And if my queen moves, he can go rook g7. And if I take on h5, which I did, he goes to g7, king g7, bishop h5, and winning my queen. So from a completely lost position for white, white is now better. The problem is if I go knight c3, he can just simply go queen b2. So I can't even get this rook. So here I played rook e5, hitting this bishop. So it's a very nice move for me because not only this hits the bishop but also threaten knight c3, which stops the pin now. He went rook d3, I think, which is a very big blunder. He just forgot about this bishop. So I just took the bishop and I'm now again clearly winning again. He went queen b2, f6. This structure actually holds my queen side completely. Like even if he comes queen a4, he had to go queen b6. There is no checks here. Rook f3, I go rook e5, stopping this f6 idea. h4, rook into h4, rook g3 check, rook g5. So if he takes here, I can again take queen e2, I can go bishop d5, queen e7, I can come back bishop f7, and I'm clearly winning. So after rook f3, I went rook g6, protecting this permanently, threatening bishop d5. He went queen e2, the last try, bishop into d5, queen e7, and bishop f7. And now all these things protect my king very good. This rook also keeps an eye on the white king, maybe threatening rook g4 in the future. He plays g3, I come back here, trying to go here, rook e5, and then maybe create some kind of mating patterns with this. He goes queen b7, I go rook e5, centralizing. He takes the a6 pawn, I go rook e1 check, king h2, and knight d4, getting my final piece into the game. He went rook e3, and I just take this. So without the rook, the queen can't really do much, and my 3 piece is just winning. So I just played a few more moves, and I was struggling a bit, but it was the material advantage is so much that it's very hard to mess this up. And rook c5, I just queen. If he takes, I can just simply queen on the next move, and then I rook and bishop up. So right now I am 4 out of 4. I beat Wesley, I beat Eric Rosen, and I was going well. Now I play Nepomniachtchi, the World Championship challenger from last year. So he played e6, I played e4, I played c6, the Caro-Kann, d4, d5, knight c3, d4, knight e4, knight f6, normal lines, ef6, bishop e3, it's also very standard. I mean bishop d6, bishop d3, castles, knight e2, rook e8, all very standard moves. Knight d7, the knight comes to f8, queen d2, knight f8, knight g3, queen c7, stopping knight f5, c4, bishop g3, bishop g4, rook e1, rook d8, centralizing my looks. If you go something like c5, I can just simply take, and go on by bishop e6. I have this very nice blockade on the d5 square. He went f4, which is very nice because he wants to play f5 and cut off my bishop. So I went queen c8, f5, I took on g3, hg3, and rook e7. Actually, even this bishop looks kind of trapped. If he goes rook f4, I can simply go h5. So he goes queen f2, I go rook e8, bishop d2, h5, consolidating my bishop. He goes king h2, queen d7, takes, rook e1, takes. He can't really take with the queen because this f5 pawn is hanging. But he takes with the bishop. I go queen d6, keeping an eye on this king. Maybe h5 in the future. He wants queen f4. I actually calculated a bit and took, thinking that my bishop and knight will be enough to stop the pawns. Took, and I went g6. Takes, and d5. Actually, the engine agrees with me, and it's completely equal. So I took here and played king f7. The point is, if the thing that I was scared about is if he goes bishop b4. I thought we'll go knight e6, bishop into g6, knight d4, bishop c5, and I was a bit scared, but turns out I have this nice move, knight f5, bishop a7, and I forced the bishop to take on f5 because with king g7. If he goes bishop e8, black just plays knight d6, and the bishop is trapped. So after d5, I played takes, and king f7, bishop f2, a6, bishop d4, bishop f5, bishop c5. So if he had taken here, I would take back king g3, and I can go knight g6, and everything is covered. I go here and just take this pawn. But after bishop c4, I go knight d7. The problem with king e7 is he can go bishop c5. So I have to cover this square first. A4, king e7, bishop c4. I think what he missed is king d6, bishop d4, and I can simply go knight c5 and block this bishop. And now I'm just simply threatening bishop d5 and just take this pawns. And he can't really do anything about this knight. If he takes, I can take back, and I have this extra pawn on the queen side, king side, and I'm just really winning. So he plays a5, I play bishop e4, bishop b3 takes, bishop c2, f5. Maybe f5 is a bit of a mistake. I can go g5 because after f5, I'm not getting a pass pawn out of these 3 pawns. f5, he went bishop a4, bishop c6, bishop b3. So I was kind of repeating the moves to see if he does repeat or not. Bishop d1, I went king c6 when he allowed me to. Now my knight is ready to move. And the problem with him, he can't even take this because my king is so close to the pawn. I'll just go and start capturing the pawns. He went king h3, I went, which is a mistake, I went knight d3. So it's kind of a family fork here. And it's also threatening another fork. So he finds the only move, bishop a4, king c7, bishop d2. And I could have taken on b2, but I was a bit scared about this bishop e8, and he'll start taking this pawn and it becomes dynamic. So I just protected this pawn first. Nothing is going to take the g6 pawn now. He went king h4, giving up this b2 pawn, which I don't really like. But yeah, knight b2. He went bishop c2, I go knight c4, hitting this and this. He went bishop c3, and which is again a blunder. I go knight e3. So this is fork after fork, and he's just losing all the pawns. And I even win the g3 pawn. He went bishop d3, knight g2. Again, there's a surprise at the end. And he played king g5. I had seen like everything here. I have h4, h3, and h2. So I was like, okay, I'm clearly winning now. But actually, he played bishop e5 first, king c8, bishop d3, knight g2, king g5, h4, bishop f1, h3. I thought if he takes, I can take back here, and I go b5 takes and a5. This pawn and this pawn should be enough to win. So after bishop d4, I played this unbelievable knight f4. Actually, I was going to play knight e1, which is clearly winning because if he goes bishop h3, I have knight here, fork, and if he goes here, I take the bishop, takes here, I go knight e2. If he can't even take here because I have this fork after knight f4. So I had clicked on, I had right clicked on I clicked on g2 knight, and I was going to click on e1 knight, but mistakenly I click on f4 and I just lose the knight. But thankfully I have so many pawns, it's not even lost. King f4, h4, bishop g2, bishop e8, king g3, bishop c6, king h2, bishop into g2, king into g2. And I try something, but it's not enough. At g5, bishop f6, g4, bishop d4, and I finally tried for this b5. If he doesn't take, I have this so many pawns, I'll get the king out, and I am actually winning. But he of course takes, f4, bishop e5, f3, king g2, king g3, a5, and this was actually very risky because I draw this by only one move. King b7 takes a3, king e4, a2, king d5, a1 queen, takes on king b6. If I was one move short, the king will be on c5 and square is covered. So it was very close. So we move on to the final game of the tournament. I was 8.5 out of 10, and I was in third place most probably. Aronian and Zigalko was 9 out of 10. And I think if I win, I was most probably going to be first if they draw the game. I had very good bookholds. But I was also happy with getting a prize because I had never got a prize before in Title Tuesday. So I play knight f3, knight f6, c4, c5, g3, b6. He plays some kind of a symmetrical English with Queen's Indian structure. Bishop b7, castle, e6, b3. So I also double fianchetto. Bishop e7, bishop b2, castle, d4. So these are very normal moves. Black generally takes on d4 with the pawn. Queen d4, d6, knight c3, knight d7, rook fd1, a6. Black generally go queen c7, rook c8, queen b8, queen a8, and then tries for this b5 break. White can simply go e4, h3, queen e3, double on the d file. And white has a lot of space, but black has a very solid position. But after d4, he actually went for d5, which is pretty interesting. I actually thought, as he was 1.5 point down behind me, he was 7.5. I thought he would be going for something aggressive, but he went d5. I took on d5, knight d5, and play knight c3. As I was happy with the draw, I didn't mind exchanging the queens. He took on d7, takes on d5, bishop into d5, knight e5. So I think he thought for a bit here, because after knight e5, I might have gone for bishop d5. But the problem here is he can go queen d5, e d5, bishop into e5, rook e8, and I'm losing this e2 pawn. So, but he didn't even go for that. He went bishop g2, forcing me king g2, knight into e5, bishop into e5, queen e7. All very natural moves. I had seen all this and had planned this nice maneuver to f3, queen d3, rook a d8, and queen f3. So this not only just covers this, gets a proper square for the queen, but also covers this diagonal from any checks in the future. He goes rook d5, I go bishop c3, covering this d2 square. He goes rook f d8, rook a c1, because I can't really go here. He goes a5, stopping any kind of b4 in the future. e3. My idea is to go rook d1 and exchange all the pieces. And I have a slight chance to keep on playing in the in-game. If he might take some risk, I might win. Here he repeats and tries to see if I go for a win. Rook f5, queen e4, rook d5, queen f3 back. Then he plays queen d7, which is very expected, tripling on the d5, so I don't get rook d1. I went h4, gaining some space on the king side. h6, rook c2, doubling up here. Maybe in the future I might go bishop d7, bishop b2 back, rook d3. I go bishop b2 back, which is not the best move because he can go rook d2. I go rook c1, takes queen d3. I think what he missed is rook c4. This is a very nice move. So right now I'm again not playing for a draw here because I have this very nice bishop on looking at g7. I have this rook coming to g4. I have this queen coming looking at the king. And if he goes a bit wrong, for example, if he goes something like queen d2, I might even think for something like for for example, bishop g7, king g7, rook g4, which might not work, but it's always nice. But he went queen b1, bishop c3, bishop f8. If he had gone queen a2, I just go to g4 and I'm just clearly winning. Bishop g7, I can go bishop g7, bishop g7, and queen f6. So bishop f8, I play rook c7, hitting the f7 pawn. He goes f6, and I just simply take the pawn with the bishop. He has to take back because if he goes something like this, I can simply take bishop g7, rook g1, king h2, and this h1 square is covered by the queen. So after bishop f6, he takes, I take back, and what I missed is this nice move, queen e4 check. I actually thought I was winning, but no. Queen e4 check, he moves, and he can actually play this like multiple moves here. Queen f5 is a draw. If I take here, he can take here, queen h3, queen f1, king h2, queen f2, king h3, queen f1, and if I go king g4, it's just a mate in one move, queen f5. But of course, he didn't want to drop, so he tried his last trick, going rook a8, hoping I'll play something for a win. But I was happy with the draw. I just played queen f7, king h8, queen f6, king g8, and just repeated the position. So this is how I scored 9 out of 11, and I had some very nice wins against Wesley and Maksudlu, and I got my first prize in Title Tuesday. Thank you for watching, and if you like this kind of content, please subscribe and give a like.